Good evening and welcome to Sunday Evening Book Club with Veteran Trash Talk. With us tonight, I have James, Rex, Lindsay, and Michelle. We are discussing our second book selection, Make Your Bed. I do not like those instructions, but I read it anyway. Anyway, what was that, Michelle? Didn't hear you. And honestly, I'm like, who's this guy telling me to make my bed, right? Because I'm one of those people that I have to have a reason for what I'm doing. And in the context of what he was saying, it's in those details, that the very minute details at the beginning of your day have an outcome on your entire day and possibly your future plans for yourself, your family, your career, what they may be. In his mind starts with making your bed. And I find that to be a very interesting proposition because I still don't know if I buy it. My wife sure likes me helping make the bed. But yes, I would like you to. Please do, Michelle. Take it away.
I think the concept is, like when you get in a rut and you start feeling down or whatever, you start like not doing the basic things, you know what I mean? And then you slowly start little by little not doing the things that you used to do. And when you start making your bed, it's putting that mindset in your mind that, you know what, at least if I do this today, I'm doing something productive, and it switches your mind to start wanting to do the things that you probably would not have done that day if you didn't start off on the right foot, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
I do, but is that starting out on the so-called right foot, or is it what I'm seeing it more being is like establishing a routine that carries out throughout your day, almost where you become an autopilot?
Moving. Like there's days where you're just like, but you get up, you make your bed, you're like, all right, I accomplished something today, and it motivates you.
Right.
That steam rolling, you know what I mean?
I do. And actually, from the day we decided to read this selection, I hadn't even read page one. My wife is a person who she does like the bed made. I mean, I exaggerate, but in my mind, there's 300 pillows on my bed. She's, 300 pillows. Everything's got to be folded a certain way. And
that's me.
And like, it's not necessarily important to me, but it's important to her. And especially if I'm going to read a book, Make Your Bed, so before I even picked up page one, I was there helping her, make the bed. And she's like,
did you ask her what to make the bed?
That is a good question. I didn't pose that to her, and I definitely will.
Well, ask her why she likes to make the bed, and maybe you'll get a little bit more insight.
I like that. That's awesome.
I was going to tell you, right now I'm on a freshly made bed. I've been making my bed every day since I started reading this book.
Really?
Well, I've always done it, but I kind of fell off the bandwagon. My wife's giving me looks like, hell no, you never make the bed. But I will say the thing about making your bed is no matter what happens in your day, you're starting off with something successful. This is something, it's easy to do.
An accomplishment.
Yeah, it's an accomplishment. And people will laugh at me and they'll say oh, making your bed's nothing. But it's like, did you make your bed? And that's why with my two kids, I try to tell them every morning when we wake up, I say, you got to make your bed. And they say, why? And I say, because. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason. The reason why is because you need a clean bed. And they've been asking me, why do I need to do this? And I'm sorry, these sounds are getting loud.
What is that?
Lindsay's got the window down.
Oh, what?
Lindsay, roll up your window.
Lindsay,
roll up your window.
Roll up the window. You have to roll up the window.
or you can mute yourself if you just can't listen.
My windows are rolled up. I rolled them up when I got on the freeway.
Why do we hear Lindsay? There we go. Can y'all hear me?
Oh, amazing. Yes,
Yeah.
amazing.
I got it. So anyway, in saying that, Rex, I mean, I think, that's not overstating in the estimation of at least the Admiral that making your bed is an accomplishment. So like, what are you going to follow that up with? And that I'll open that up to you guys. Like, okay, making your beds first. So what's going to keep you moving forward in that frame of mind, those small accomplishments, it's going to turn into something you can look back on and be proud. So we've made our bed. What's next for you guys? Rex?
Yeah, I can give a pretty good one on this one. So the way I look at it is like, I do a lot of big projects where it's like I got to do a lot of sheetrock work, a lot of painting, a lot of caulking, a lot of all these little things, right? So I view making my bed as just one of those parts of the process. Like it's all a process, and it's all like there's a big goal, and the big goal is success, right? And it's like, but for you to be successful and for me to be successful, that you have a complete different interpretation of that than me. But there's one thing that we do have in common is we both sleep in a bed. So, it's like, I think for me, it's like, it's allowed me to look at the big picture of everything that I'm doing. And it's like, I might want to clean my whole house, but where am I going to start? I'm going to make my bed, so it's allowed me to understand that it's just one small step that seems like nothing, but it's part of this process.
It's like, you know what I mean? You have to take that step, to get the wheels.
Right. And actually,
You don't.
I can't. You're breaking. Your audio is breaking up, and Lindsay still got her window down.
I said it sounds still not convinced.
Lindsay, roll up your window, please.
My windows are up. I just got a shitty old car.
Oh, I got you. Okay, I'm with you. But no, I couldn't hear you.
My car's like 16 years old.
What was going on? Hold on a
At least, so let's put it on mute.
I'm gonna have to.
Oh, did she leave?
No, I dropped her. We can't listen to that. I mean, she can come back in when but anyway. Sorry, Lindsay, you had to go. That's how we roll at VTT Book Club. Hopefully, yeah, that was unbearable. I hope you'll see, Lindsay. But anyway, no, I couldn't hear you, Michelle. Is why I was giving you a blank deer in the headlights there.
I kind of like. I said you don't seem like you're convinced with this whole make your bed philosophy.
Well, and I don't think I need to be at this point, and that's what but I am open to it. And here's where that comes from, is because I was one of those young veteran soldiers that when I left the military, ain't nobody telling me to make my bed no more, so I'm not going to make my bed. So it became something. And I think part of that, though, is because it was never explained in the context of the way we're explaining it and its importance.
Became a rebel at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
What to do now that I'm out of the military?
Right. That was definitely part. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. You're right, but I didn't realize the importance of maintaining that standard of discipline in all areas. Not. Because I've naturally maintained certain levels of morals and, discipline from the military, but not to the full extent of what I was taught and capable of. So, but I mean, you look at the difference in where you're at, you probably couldn't go about your day any other way at this point. I can't imagine.
Well, that's not true. I've gotten out of bed without making it. Doesn't happen.
I'm so disappointed.
It doesn't happen too often, but I have let it go. No, it doesn't happen to me, but every once in a while.
Yeah. But so again, let's go ahead. I mean, I think we get the gist of, as the Admiral McRaven said, if you want to change your life and maybe the world, start off by making your bed. So if that's all I got to do to change the world, I'm on board with that.
I feel. Hey, I just want to tell you real quick, Kevin. For me, making my bed is like that opportunity. That is a small opportunity that I'd never took.
So is that,
you know what I'm saying? I'm saying no. What I'm saying is this small thing that, oh, it's, you look at it, you're like, making my bed. Why am I gonna make my bed? It's just my bed. No one's gonna see it. Why does it matter? And it's like that is that type of outlook is what made these people super successful.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, and his Saddam Hussein, and like I said, we'll leave chapter 1, but that analogy where obviously old Saddam wasn't successful. So I wonder if all great men throughout history have in fact made their bed, right? It'd be nice to be able to investigate that. But again, chapter 2, let's move on to that. You find yourself in circumstances that you're going to need help. And, his case, it was with his injury, and being able to rely on others to continue a career that was maybe by everybody else's estimation, including his own, over, and in reality, it was in some ways at the beginning of the heights of his achievements as a naval officer. And I'd like to move through this chapter quickly because I think one thing as veterans, we do know that we can't do things on our own. And this was one of those areas where I kind of felt like he was speaking to civilians, which, I mean, of course he wants this book to have a wide reach, but I think there's a few things in here, and this one specifically, I don't, me personally, veterans may not ask for help, but they absolutely know you can't do anything alone. And in my mind, that's always made me willing to ask for help. Michelle?
Yeah, I think the purpose of him writing that in the book was because he was at his lowest point and he was doing really well. And he probably thought, like, all right, I'm done. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But because he had other people that believed in him, that he continued forward and was able to get out of that mindset. And
right.
And I think that's the most important thing, because I don't think a lot of people have that support around them, to include a lot of vets. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all grand and dandy, but like when it comes down to it, I've talked to many vets, to include myself, and there's a lot of times we didn't have any support. You know what I mean?
Right.
I belong to, and I didn't get support for my own art. For my own. Sorry.
Hey, now you got to use your little button that help I followed. I can't get up button.
Yeah. So, well, it was my phone that fell, not me. So, and that where I felt like I didn't even get support. You know what I mean? So I think that's crucial for anybody to get over anything, is to know that there is support there for them. And I'm pretty sure that's why he wrote that in there.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, he had that mentorship. He had people that believed in him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that should be acknowledged. You know, I mean, I'd be grateful if I was in the same situation and I knew people bailed me out and got me back on my feet again. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. The other thing I took from that, I mean, I am, Grandpa Joe in veteran trash talk a lot of times, it seems like, but that whole going through your youth feeling invincible because, we've all in our own way experienced, not necessarily outright death, but situations that could have went one way and we, because of a particular physical fitness level we were at, or just circumstances, luck, we survived. And I always remember that first time that was taken away from me. And that's actually something, that's a hard bitter pill to swallow that first time you get knocked on your ass and you realize, you're not the Superman that you've portrayed yourself to be, in the context of you just got lucky that you haven't been injured up until this point. And in my case, it was a hospitalization, but it's to recover from that. I think that says a lot about a person, for sure. So you got anything to add on that, Michelle? Looked like you did. Like, have you had in your career, have you had to recover from injuries? Like even that?
Well, yeah. She talked about at the very beginning, the everything.
Yeah, when I was at basic training and I tore my leg.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I do. Good job, Rex, for reminding me.
Yeah, because I was just like, it was devastating to me because this is what something, I always wanted to do. And I had to even put that on hold. And then once I got there, I was all excited because I was finally doing what I wanted to do. And so when I got hurt, I took it really hard. But, I said, you know what? I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm just going to do what I have to do and focus and then just get better and then go back for some more. You know what I mean? That's all I was thinking. And, but it does knock you off your feet, because you don't expect those things. And that's life general. You know what I mean? And at any point in your life, you could be on top of the world and that platform could fall right under your feet at any given time. You're never safe from that happening. And to think that you're being ignorant.
And see, that's the thing, Michelle, like in that context, I actually, because the question I was posing to you was different than the way it was answered, but you answered it in a better way than what I could have asked it, because that moment of realization, I equated that with me getting older is why I had to accept that inevitability, where in fact, after, remembering, as Rex pointed out, that story you brought up, we all have to face it at some time, I guess is the point. And each of us has to face it in our own way at our own time. For me, I got lucky to make it into my late 30s before I had to face that situation where you had to face it early on. So I'm thinking maybe the earlier you get the opportunity to experience that type of adversity, I'm sure that's had more positive impact on your life than it has negative, because I know facing that realization myself in my 30s, it's had a positive impact. So, but anywho,
hey, real quick, I just want to give you a little side story. Talking
Lord.
about I know. It's gonna be 2 minutes. 2 minutes or less. All right. So I got like two people that I paid. One guy's homeless. The other guy's a friend of a friend. These are my helpers. These are the people that help me work on people's houses and do all this stuff. Well, the guy that had the house, he had an electrician come in, and the other two dudes are going outside and smoking a cigarette. And the whole time I am right beside these electricians. I'm saying, what are you doing? How are you fixing this and that stuff? And I think, this is just the whole point I'm trying to make about this is that people of my generation have all the resources around them. And I think there's too much resources in a way. We can't take in all the resources that we have. So we don't even know how to utilize these resources, and to the point that we just do nothing. We literally, yeah.
Kind of mean like information overload. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's so much
like that. Information overload paralyzes you.
Exactly. It's like we have a lot of homeless people in our community. I'm sure you know this, Kevin. And it's like there's so many resources. There's so many resources out here that the people that like, why would they help themselves? Why am I going to help myself? Because there's just so much out here that I can do whatever I want. But do you actually take the information and do whatever you want? And people don't.
And what do you think? And honestly, I get what you're saying from my perspective, which is when it came to technology, I only learned enough to do my job. I was never, so, but I am a news junkie. So from that context, yeah, I definitely get that, too much information can be debilitating when it comes to making,
Yeah, but you know what? That's why you need like advocacies. You need people that can spot that and go, hey, I see a problem in this neighborhood or whatever, and they need to be the go-to person. Say, hey, look, they go to those organizations. Say, look, I know for a fact that there's homelessness group in this area, and then them bringing that organization to them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And because there's just like you said, there's too much information. You need somebody to kind of like
break it
spirit.
down.
You
What do
need
you
a
mean?
navigate. You honest,
Yes,
but there's
exactly.
you need a
Right.
navigator. Yeah.
Correct. You do. Yeah, absolutely. And that's in the military in general. Because when I retired from the Army, oh my God, I've got email links to like all these websites, but there's nobody sitting down going, hey, ignore this one. You're not going to need that one, or ignore it. So meanwhile, I'm online making all these accounts, 20 million accounts, 20 million passwords for all these emails that I got, these links that I got. Half of them I didn't even need. But you know what I mean? So, I mean, you could spend hours going through all these websites.
And
You
give
know what I mean?
up. And give
What
up.
do I really need for me? You know what I mean? That's what you need, though, because like you said, you can just get completely overwhelmed with all the information out there.
And I mean, but
Mhm.
and again, I know Michelle, you have not, and it doesn't matter. We can go on any tangent. We're just, right now, four friends talking. No, absolutely. But in this context, you and I have talked about the fact that that's what veteran trash talk will one day become as far as resources. And I explained to you that we're going to be a one-stop shop. I'm getting out. What do I do? Boom, boom, boom. But that's also going to come through education, because there's going to be people like you who are so close to home with going through that right now.
Yeah.
Your experience, because you're going to be able to spread that information throughout the community now, not just keep it to yourself. That's how all this is going to grow. That's how we're going to grow as veterans. But anyway, so as far as see, I just don't. I mean, do you guys have trouble asking for help? And then we'll wrap up chapter 2. Because
No.
if I need help, I'm asking.
What do you mean by help? Like,
No,
no, I asked.
not money. I never ask.
I-
I ain't asking nobody for money.
Yeah, no, I asked. For, a lot of times, like, I don't know. It just seems like you can ask for help, but you got people that might help you, and then you got people that might not help you. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'd say for me, my help is and people don't even know they're helping me. I got about 5 people, including Kevin. Usually they're older gentlemen, like Trigger Joe, or I've talked to
Damn
Joe
it! The
about
surprise is ruined.
Oh, hey.
Come on, man.
What's that?
That's what I finished what I was saying. I ask a lot of people for help, and the way I ask them for help is just by calling them.
Right.
Just talking to me. That's helping me. I mean, I already know what my problem is. I don't need, I just need help knowing that it's okay and that everything will work out.
Do I need to adjust my set, or is Rex a million bald?
He's bald as hell. You haven't seen him bald?
Oh, I gave you
dude.
What had happened was.
Anyway, the reason
All you guys are bald, and I got all this hair here.
Oh, it's beautiful. But the next chapter, what really got me wanting to get our CEO and co-founder of Veteran Trash Talk, Trigger Joe Britson, in the room with us, is because what they're talking about, stature means nothing. Look at Tommy Norris, the Tommy Norris story. Little guy that he thought there's no way this dude is making it, through the buds, whatever they call it, that time period, when in fact he was already a proven warrior, Medal of Honor recipient during Vietnam. He was the definition of a SEAL. And that was because of his heart. And that's what made me think about Joe, because this is where I'm going to turn this over to him, because Trigger Joe does have a lot to say about how much heart means and how much having that heart and that desire can allow you to accomplish your goals. Your Joe, accomplish your Joe.
Go.
Kevin, if you don't loosen up, I'm going to call Tracy and tell her to feed you a shot or two.
Hey, look.
Calm yourself down.
All this
There's
time,
this is no formal setting.
All this time you thought it was just one cup, and I'm not even holding the other two.
Mm-hmm. So you're one guy, 2 cups, is what you're saying?
Wow, I'm leaving that.
Good stuff.
Horrible.
Trigger Joe Britson, do you have an opinion on how much heart goes towards achieving your goals?
I mean, you'd be one of my perfect examples. But people, there's no way people that haven't traveled the way we have and just put on a grind and went, 4 wheels across the country just for the hell of it, for the mission. You kind of reminded me of why that's all that matters. I'll give you guys a perfect example. Kev and I were, my wife was pregnant, very pregnant, and she was running the apparel store for when these shirts, the first ones came out. That's how we did it. Right out of the house, and did it well because packages were, but she started getting very pregnant, and we already have a little girl and my son who we split time with, and it just started to get to where it was overwhelming, but we never made a complaint. But we hooked up with these guys. Long story short, we had to move the store to West Palm Beach, but it got it out of my house and in the hands of somebody else that we could afford to have do it. So I asked Kevin, that's a 10-hour drive from Charlotte. And he's instantly, yeah, no problem. 4 days after I brought it up, we're getting ready to leave the next day. And he's driving his truck and he goes, "Hey, where are we going?" And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Where are we going again?" And I'm like, "Dude, what do you mean, where are we going? Like when we had that whole talk, that didn't matter to you?" And he was like, "No." I was like, "So we could be going to Bismarck, South Dakota, and you'd be doing it anyways?" And he's like, "Yeah, road trip, bro." That, to me, that's hard. That's hard. That's hard. And we did it too.
Thank you. Yeah, we did.
We drove that bad boy down to West Palm Beach, moved it by hand. I'm proud of everything we did because you got to have some heart. All of us work 40s or 50s, yeah, and we're still doing it, and happily. But no, it's a perfect example. And I think what Kevin's referring to is something I've quoted to him several times or stole quotes from. It's actually on Spotify. Like, it's called Fearless Motivation is the channel. And I've never listened to anything like that and gotten into it. But there's one that's just called Heart. And I'll try and do it as best I can. But basically says success in life in any area boils down to one factor, and it's heart. You can call it courage, you can call it perseverance, call it whatever you want. Discipline. But it's heart. And I'm telling you, all those things come from that. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. All that stuff boils down to heart, whether you choose to give up or keep moving. It comes down to that in the end. Because when you're broken, when you can't move, or when you're or mentally you feel like you can't, it takes heart to say, like, I don't want to take the next fucking step. I don't. But you tell yourself, well, you're gonna do it anyways. You're gonna get up because you can't stay here. And all that takes heart, because then you start warming up. And I mean, I've had plenty of Monday mornings where I felt like that. And I listened to that Fearless Motivation. I listened to Heart. It's on Spotify. I've probably listened to it every single day since I heard it 6 months ago. But it's dead on accurate. And I mean, in the end, this screams how big is your heart? And I've never listened to any kind of motivational stuff, but I'm hooked on that one. Because it is true. You take away your youth, your prime, your body broken, concussions. If your heart's still beating, that is the only thing you need. And I know Kevin was hoping I would be able to recall the entire thing, but I'm kind of recalling pieces of it and my take on it. But that's what we are. I mean, VTT, it's a bunch of guys who know what the mission is, and ladies, I'm sorry, but it's a bunch of veterans who know what the mission is, some active duty, and decided I won't collect penny one until we have enough money to do something really special for our veterans. And we haven't, and we won't. We'll continue to not, because we want that nest egg to be something that draws attention and brings them in. And that's why I always say I want every single penny people have. And if that sounds greedy, I don't trust anybody else to take care of veterans the way that I know we can. That's it. We've got blood in the game, and it's, we understand each other better. And it's just, veterans are going to take care of veterans better because they understand, they get it better than anybody who isn't one. I mean, and that's, when COVID hit and they took away all the mental health appointments, all the anything that wasn't a necessity. Nick called me on this, Kevin told me, he goes, dude, we've got to start it now. Guys are going to die because of this. They can't see their shrinks. They can't. He's like, if we're ever going to do it, now's the time to do it. Because we had talked about it for almost a year. And he was right. When the Capitol shut down, and they decided to scrub the internet of anybody's professional Facebook page if they were a veteran, just because a couple of those guys look like veterans. Now, if that's not profiling, someone tell me what the freaking definition is. Anyways, I won't get triggered because I very well could. I very well could. But well, I'll put it this way: the story has a happy ending because they shut us down. And in that moment, in that time when they shut us down and we were rebuilding, Kev was there for that. We lost it. We lost a veteran, someone who was close to Nick, our other co-founder. And I got to tell you, it takes a lot to see that dude lose his cool. Nick's always busting balls because it's hard. It's really hard to get him upset. And, man, I was on the phone with him and I think he said 3 or 4 words and I could tell his teeth were closed when he was saying it. Like he was, that was one of his guys. And the thing that VTT had then that they still have now, but the audience was so much bigger because we had 45,000 and we were adding 500 an hour. We something had gone viral and it scared the internet and they were like, shut it down. It doesn't fucking matter. It's not like they're going to stop us. But there were so many silent followers, people who followed our page for entertainment, but never participated. I knew plenty. A lot of veterans are recluse, but they still got something out of it. He was one of them, and Nick knew him personally. So, for reasons like that, we'll never fucking stop because we know for a fact that we're all we have. When it comes down to it, when it comes down to brass tacks, if we don't do it for ourselves, then it's not going to get done. And when it comes to ourselves, that goes for everybody. So for those of us that can't fight, it's our job to fight for them. So, I mean, man, I tell you, I could talk for 15, 20 minutes on this and start pouring tears pouring tears right now. So, I mean, if that's not heart, then that, you know, what else is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, you know, it people that know me or don't know me, it might sound different to each group, but when I say I want every single dollar that's available, I do. Absolutely. Give it to us and watch what we do with it. And maybe you guys can fucking follow suit and everybody can learn. You know, because shit like what Kevin and I did up here, taking veterans out charter fishing, like those captains will go to their graves having no clue how many people's lives they saved.
What's that?
There's something about the tranquility and the peace of being out on the water. Everything just stops. I mean, that's how I feel about it. And when I hit the ground, my mind's a million miles an hour. And out there, it's not. So it's such a natural high or a natural, you know.
Funny, every time I live on the Cape, so every time, like, I start getting stressed out, I think overwhelming. That's what I do. I go out on a sail, you know, the ones without, you know, just the sails, and then I just go for a ride, and then just being out in the ocean and hearing calming.
So, Michelle, can I ask you a question? Because right now I'm picturing, what about Bob? Please tell me that you on the mat, tied up, life preserver.
You know, if she hasn't seen that movie, that sounds quite perverse.
Hey, Joe, do me one more favor.
Yeah, Kevin.
One of my either your video froze or that was the hardest stare I've ever faced by another person. But Joe, to take it on a little bit lighter note, one of my other favorite stories I've heard from you about heart is the little dude in the Panther Brigade that, you know, he had heart. Yeah. Give me that one. Then
you want me to? Oh man, he was smaller than. I mean, he was 6 inches shorter than my wife is now. He was 5'3" and 125 pounds. His name was Jason Whitehead. He was from, I want to say, I think he was from South Carolina. But he ended up in Greenville. He was the bad boy in the got in trouble right before we left and popped out on a drug test, even though it wasn't his fault. Everybody was doing it. He just got caught. Hang on. Let me see. You got me okay?
Yeah, you're good, dude.
Okay, now I got you. This cord is brutal on this phone. I've been pouring concrete all day, so I would have been more prepared. But
you're fine.
He was on the CO shit list. He was a good old boy. He was typical paratrooper. He would have been a valedictorian of the E4 Mafia if he ever would have made it to that. Well, I'm sorry. He was E4 promotable when this happened, by the way. E4 promotable down to nothing. I mean, it took all of his. Yeah, that was the only option. You can stay in, or you can go. But you stay in, you're going down to square zero. And he chose to stay in. I was a saw gunner. He was a 203 gunner and driver. And they tried to do like their own little jihad with us. We had one of these 100-foot power poles that had an eye in the sky, and we had Iraqi police bases to the northwest, north, and east. So, and then there we sat, and I remember the way it started out was we'd been out all night. And I was in a pair of Ranger panties and shower shoes sitting outside my room smoking a cigarette. Everybody else was sleeping. And all of a sudden it's like, and I can hear like, doom, doom, doom. And I'm like, you know when a dishka, if you've heard a dishka go off before, you know the sound. And I'm like, that's not AK fire. And these rounds are going over the base, over my head when I'm smoking. And so I run in to the room, grab the radio, key the mic. We were QRF and we were lead truck and we knew it. And I was the gunner for the lead truck. No, I'm sorry. Whitehead was the gunner that day. Jesus. They flip-flopped us. And long story short, we were getting attacked. They were overrunning the Iraqi police base. They drove a V-bid through the Iraqi police base, knocked it down, killed everybody in the building. We were the first truck out of the traffic circle. They blew the Iraqi police station up across the street and rocked an 1151 Up Armor Humvee on like lifted the wheels. And I don't know how that didn't kill Whitehead. He was in the gun. So we end up flying down the street and all the Iraqi police are pointing for us to go down this alleyway. And our driver, goofball, was turning to go down the alleyway. And my squad leader, who probably saved us all in the moment, grabbed the steering wheel, pushed it back and said, no, keep going. We're going to flank them. They're down that alleyway. And they were. They had a dish gun mounted on the back of a little Toyota truck. They would have cut through us like butter. So we end up coming around and there's this opening to the right. And as we realize the only spot for us to turn exposes the fact that we're flanking him for about 150 feet. They catch us when we come into the opening. They see us. And you just see the Dishka start rotating towards us. And he's letting off rounds the whole time. Got the truck behind us. Got our platoon leader. Next truck was us. And I was sitting down out of the gun and feeling so helpless because I was the gunner. And I remember Whitehead's boot was right next to me. I put my hand on his boot and I just said, fast and accurate, fast and accurate. And I mean, to myself, looked up and at about 40 miles an hour with the gun, no sights, butterfly trigger, Whitehead put a 3-round burst and all I saw was a ping off the Dishka and then guy's head gone. I've never seen anything like it. At that speed, at the way we were turning, that little shit took 3 rounds to end it for those guys. Because once that part was over, we knew AK rounds are coming through these trucks. We're mowing y'all down. And we did, because that was the only gun they had that could have got to the trucks, and we just killed them. So in that moment, if that gun would have rotated another 3 feet, one of us was getting it. And he had about 3 seconds to take that guy out. And I think it took him 2. So, heart like I've never seen before. He used to tell me when we lived in the room next to each other, and he was a dirty bird, and I'm not. And I used to get so mad because I tell him to go wash his IBA and stuff. And one day I started roughing him up, man, and he threw about 15 punches into my forehead. He used to tell me, he said, what are you going to do when you walk around tomorrow? Because this little 5'3" shit blackened your eye or broke your nose, because I got hands. He's like, if you whip my ass, everyone's just going to think you're a jerk. I swear to God, that kid, he had, his heart was as big as his body. Yeah.
So was he, I mean, obviously the people that knew him, but I mean, that whole point of, heart is everything. Is
physically gifted? No.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, was he constant?
No advantages on the outside if you just look, but the kid's heart outclassed anybody I've ever met. As far as in the moment, that, yeah, sure.
For sure. Anyway, Michelle,
but
anything to add to that? Heart?
I got in the story that I totally got distracted. What, as far as that story goes about
just that, I mean, a time when just heart is overcome your physical abilities. And again, that we're right back to the beginning of the one of our first episodes, you talking about your basic training story that has heart written all over it, getting through that time period.
Yeah. I mean, I've had, several throughout my life, but none I really want to discuss live.
Oh, for sure.
But
anyway. So let me ask you this. I think honestly though, I think the military, for me at least, maybe if there's lessons to be learned if you pay attention to them in that context, I've never judged anybody by their socioeconomic background, their religion, their physical stature, because I've always known that you just, you do that at your jeopardy. Because you don't know, we're all cogs in a wheel. You don't know how this particular cog is going to play his part. You have to take the time to figure out where he fits within the team. Of course, no matter what that team is, and it's carried over to veteran trash talk, we're always going to give the new guy shit, Michelle. Not so look, she's giving me that look again. But yeah, that's just something I think as veterans, I think again, that's where he was speaking to the public at large, don't judge a book by its cover, including the one that says make your bed, and said I told the book cover to shut up when it came in the door.
Actually, triggered a story. So like when I was younger and I know like 10, 11, I went to gym. This is going back. So coach says we're gonna run 3 miles. And I was a little bit chunky as a kid, but I was athletic. So, there's this one kid that was playing all the sports and he was like talking to his friends. He's like, she's not even going to make a lap around that thing. And all the girls were like, hee, like they're all making fun of me basically. Right. So I was like, okay.
Yeah. Kids are assholes.
Yeah, we're running.
They go for the gut.
Yeah.
Majority of the group, like, pretty much fell out after the half a mile. And the half mile, and then the first mile came around. We lost a lot more. There was only 2 people that made the 3 miles. Guess who that was?
That be you.
Me and the other kid was talking smack about me, and he goes, I go, listen, never judge a book by its cover, because, like you said, you got to have heart. I was like, I'm not this kid telling me what I cannot or can do.
Absolutely.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
Oh my goodness, that's my friend. That's my best friend in the whole world right there.
Say hey,
That's
babes.
wife, the other one. Anyway, moving on.
She
to chapter
loves
4.
when I do that.
Hey, I want to tell you the whole judging a book by its cover thing.
Let's hear it, Rick.
All right, so I have 2 kids. I drop them off at daycare and school every morning. There's a lady that I befriended at the daycare that, she's there when I drop my kids off. Well, she's got 2 boys that are the same age as my 2 boys. So we organized a play date. I'm going to go pick these kids up. They're going to have a great time, everything, right? So they send me the address. I pull up. It's a Motel 6. And I knew nothing about this lady. I thought, from what I could tell from her, she was very well off. Her kids were taken care of. But, I got to know the lady, and it turns out she's been living in a hotel for 3 months. And she's a single mother. She's got a lot of trauma, a lot of crazy stuff that happened in her life, and it's like these people that need help. I'm not saying the whole reason I'm trying to say this is like the people that need the help are not the people that are always asking for it. These are people that are in our everyday lives. And it could be your best friend who's struggling and you don't even know, because you got to dig and you got to figure out who these people are in order to help them.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So Rex, though, here, and that actually, I'm going to use that as a segue into chapter 4, because really, what I heard you saying was that particular individual has taken ownership of their circumstances and not become a victim to them. Yeah, I'm living in a hotel. My financial circumstances are not where I want them to be, but it doesn't mean I can't make myself presentable to the best of my ability. So she, you know what I'm saying? So she has owned that set of circumstances the same way, Moki did in that story. He was talking about there's some dude who's, super duper SEAL doing his thing, training for a triathlon, and becomes the complete opposite of, what he was, but still went forward, owned those circumstances, and never settled, found out what he could do next. And, you guys read what I read. He just found a different way to use his abilities to make his life, rewarding. So that's a definite thing, again, that I feel the Admiral was like maybe more so keying the general public into, because I think that comes with veterans in general, is you own it. You own your circumstances. You don't cry about where you find yourself in the moment. You look at what you can do to make the most of it. And I think that's where a lot of that veteran humor comes from. So,
well, not all of them.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
not all of them, but that's what we're here for. Is to remind them. Go ahead, Rex.
No, I was just going to ask, because I just want to hear what your thoughts are on this, Joe. How do you remind yourself that you're not a victim? Like, how do you tell yourself I'm not a victim?
Kevin, I was right the first time I met him. This kid's smart for his age.
yeah,
yeah, man, that shit I've gone through recently. Recently, should I just talk to Kevin right before we did this about how when I got up here, I just went through a 700-mile move, Michelle, and I've got a 6-month-old baby boy, a 6-year-old girl, and then a 10-year-old son. So the last time I moved, I wasn't 41. I was much younger. I wasn't moving my entire family, and I wasn't moving more than a half hour away. So I didn't give it its due. It's just due as how hard it would be. And so when it hit me, man, I started getting filled with all the wrong thoughts, like bitching about the breaks I caught, or just fussing about everything. And I had an epiphany. Honestly, last week. I was like, look, man, you can either fucking do this or you can't. If you can't, quit faking the funk and just fucking admit it. If you can, then quit bitching. You're not dead. Just keep doing what you're doing and things will get better. And, because I'd injured my back. Yeah, like Rex and I know each other personally, but like 2 weeks ago, I pinched a nerve in my back. It locked up. It's the first time I'd done it since I effed it up on that jump. And I couldn't move. And, Michelle, men, we're such freaking babies when we're injured. It's not because of the pain. It's because we can't do what we want to do.
Right.
So I started getting just fucking miserable and nasty to be around. And I've been to that dangerous place where you're pushing the people you love away because you're so jaded about your lot in life. Well, I got 10 names tattooed on my back, and I'm sure every last one of them's parents would give up a month's, or excuse me, I said that wrong. Every last one of them's parents would give up their life savings to have a cup of coffee with them again. And here I am bitching, and the fact that I can say I've succumbed to that victimhood before. And I've also worked myself out of it. That means it's not just something I should do. Veteran trash talk is my fucking duty, and it's my responsibility to my brothers who are tattooed on my back, because I firmly believe that one of them took a shot for me. So I know everybody doesn't have that to fall back on, that kind of experience, and I'm glad most people don't, because it's not pleasant. But that's just my way. And I've heard a lot of people who are motivational speakers or workout guys, or, anybody that people listen to, or that it's an influencer, can say, the responsible ones do say, it might not work for you. That's what worked for me. So the fact that I can lean on the fact that, my brothers are gone, and that survivor's guilt comes from the fact that I felt like they deserved a more dignified way to go, and I could no longer give that to them. Well, we can now. And Kevin and I have talked about this. That's what we're fucking doing. It's in their memory. It's because I'm breathing. So I owe until I'm not. And that is exactly the timeline for Veteran Trash Talk.
That's it.
So, hey, I love you guys, but I've got to run and eat dinner. It was freaking awesome to be on.
Okay.
Glad I got the chance to. So,
all right, thank you for your time.
Yeah, buddy.
Love you.
Good seeing you. Love you too.
I love you, man.
Love you, brother.
Ooh, there's a lot of love in this room. Well, that was cool, and I mean, Joe's the only one I know that gives me a run for my money when it comes to having something to say on any given subject. But he always, I always walk away from conversations with that man feeling better for it, and my opinion's has not changed on that. But yeah, again, Michelle, I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think that the whole being a veteran thing kind of moves us away from playing that victim card, or do you think it's just more of an individual?
Well, I do in a sense, because I think we've all experienced, I mean, it's not just veterans. I'm sure, regular people, I'm sure experience, hardships, but, I think with veterans, it's because we've been in such crappy situations that we can take probably the worst case scenarios and drag ourselves out of it. You know what I mean? But I think it's harder, like once you come unattached to that family network and you start being on your own. And I think that's like the biggest caveat with vets is that they don't have that bond anymore, where they could just laugh it off with the buddies and go, yeah, we've been through worse. Let's just chuck this over and move on to the next. They don't have that reminder because then, they're not in it anymore. And I think a lot of them, they miss that battle buddy, whoever they leaned on for the day, for the worst case scenarios, to lift them up. You know what I mean? So
sure.
I think VTT is great as well, because it gives you the opportunity. Even it might not be the battle buddies you went to war with, but it's people that are going to be there in place of that push that you need. Does that make sense?
Let me ask you this about that. And I've met plenty of people on Veteran Trash Talk that I would go to war with, and you know what I mean by that. Like when you say, I got your six, you absolutely know what that means to present that. But the other question I got for you, Michelle, and this came as you were talking, was, do you think, like, because for me, I didn't know what I was missing in my life was a community of veterans. Do you think that's pretty common? Like, because my feeling was I left it behind. I don't need it anymore.
I think that's like the biggest, gap is that a lot of them, lose it, because when you get out of the military, it's like something snaps and then you're just like, it seems like that just disappears, like it never existed. You know what I mean? And then you're just thrown to the civilian world, and then you're like, all right, now what do I do? And then you lose that whole family, good or bad, indifferent, abusive, whatever you want to call it. That was still part of your family.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's why I posted that one video on VTT, because like I really related to that. You know what I mean? It's like, you don't realize it, but that's part of your family. It's kind of like you're getting divorced, when you get out of it.
Yeah.
So,
and that again,
I was gonna say, Kevin, I feel I'm not a veteran.
I'm not a veteran, but I should have been a veteran, Rex Brown.
Yeah, if it wasn't for damn type 1 diabetes, I'd be sitting here and we'd all be talking shit.
All that.
Yeah, whatever. But anyway, what I was gonna say is, I feel like for a lot of veterans, I got a buddy, he does pressure washing and stuff. He don't have any like he has nothing to do. Like the military was literally a chapter in his life.
Right.
It's not, he doesn't even think of it as part of who I am. You know, it's more of that was a part and that was stuff. But what he forgets, and I'm not, you know, I'm not hating on the guy or anything or anybody in their situation, but while it may feel like it was a page that was turned, I feel like there's not people that are going to help. There's a lack in community of
Yeah.
people to bring you back to these fundamentals that who helped form you into the amazing person that you are.
Exactly.
You know,
You don't appreciate it. I didn't. And
yeah.
I think Michelle and I, service wise, are at completely opposite ends of the experience because of, you know, the time and level of success. I mean, let's be honest. But it's amazing to me that culture shock that I experienced after my short service period. I can't imagine how exponentially more of an impact that must be onto somebody who's served like Michelle for, you know, I believe 22 years. And I definitely think there's value in what we're doing. Again, I get to steal from, you know, one of my favorites, Big Earl. Community is everything. Community is everything to if you're a walking, breathing, living creature, you know, in human flesh, community is everything. You can pretend that being alone is cool, but community is still everything. But for veterans, I think it's even more so. And I think that's what we're doing. Everybody, almost to a person, comes into our community thinking, oh, I found this really cool place where people are going to mess with me and talk trash to me. But what
Yeah,
they
and
don't,
it's great too because it's like people can be engaged if they want to. They can post something if they want to, or they could just sit and read or whatever. And
I know for a fact we
there's a
have
lot of variety to the platform.
yeah, we
You
have
know,
we're a microcosm of society. We have you know, we have, unfortunately, we have good, we have bad, we have indifferent.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact we have a huge impact on those people that are just on the periphery of what we're doing, looking in. But guess what? The more time they spend with us, the more we reel them in to where those people that don't think they need us, they start reaching out in their own way. And that's really the beauty of what we're doing, is that you really don't know what you're getting yourself into. I mean, who knows? Maybe there'll be an expose on the cult of veteran trash talk 20 years from now.
It's got to be so good though when you see reactions, when you see people, you know, actually talking and communicating with each other,
Yeah.
you know, discussing their experiences. You know what I mean? It's like seeing that come alive. You know what I mean? So it gives you inspiration.
Oh, look, so I'm gonna give a real quick shout out. I hate she's not here for this, but Lindsay is not a veteran. Doesn't matter. She is an absolute trash talker in the fact that she's embraced what being a trash talker means. Her and Catherine went, another great supporter and family member, have become close friends. As I've said to you, Michelle, there's all these circles within veteran trash talk. We're not exclusive in the context of, you know, the team is one circle. Go forth and multiply. You know, that's really what we're doing. But Lindsay is traveling 40 hours round trip to Wisconsin from Utah to pick up Catherine, who is in need of just some help while she's rehabbing from a physical injury, taking her back to Utah and taking care of her. That is the most veteran. That is the most veteran trash talk thing that I've heard of since I've been a part of this, and that's two civilians. So if that's what two civilian trash talkers are willing to do for one another, you know, what should we as veterans? That should be an example to all people,
everybody,
in the community, everybody. So,
hey, I want to tell you something quick. So before I joined Veteran Trash Talk, I'd walk by somebody and they'd be wearing Yeah, but oh, shut the fuck up, Kevin. What are you talking about? This ain't better than trash talk. Shut the fuck up. That
It is veteran trash talk.
I mean it is, but
It's a
we're
veteran
trying
trash
to
talk book club. Did you not hear my intro?
we're having serious conversation.
We are.
All right. So to get back deep, what I was gonna say is before I joined Veteran Trash Talk and before I understood like you know, and that like I said, this is my view as a civilian. You know, I from before I joined VTT, it was like people go to war, people join the military. Yes, it might not be the best, but it's like that ultimately that's what they chose to do, right? Like it was like you made that choice at the end of the day. And if you had a bad experience, you know, that's on you. But after joining VTT and understanding that it's not only a job, like you're taking a job, but you're also serving the country and understanding all the different aspects and understand what people sacrifice. You know, I mean, people leave their families just to go to basic training, you know, all these things that I never had to sacrifice. You know, it was more of me seeing what people had, what they did, what did they sacrifice. It was more than just the willing to die. It was a lot more than that because these people were not planning on dying. That was not the goal. You know, to see all these people and the things that they're struggling with really opened my eyes to what people have went through to serve the country. They and what I'm gonna segue into something real quick and the whole, you know, I think, how would I feel if I was a soldier and I'm in another country and I'm fighting, right? And it's like, what am I fighting for? And we've talked about this, Kevin. You know, it all comes down to, I mean, if we're being honest, it all comes down to like power, resources. Um, you know, we're all trying to infiltrate. I mean, but what it really comes
no, but
well
here's
that
I
well,
get
he,
what
well
you're
he,
saying. You're talking about on the geopolitical context. Michelle will tell you right now, the only thing any service member ever fights for is the person right next to him.
well that's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. That's what VTT has done. It's changed my thought because I now realize like if I was in that situation, I don't care. I don't care what I'm here for. I'm here to care for the person beside me, my brothers. These people they're willing to save me. They're willing to, you know, they'll lay down everything to help me live. You know, so to bring this full circle, dude. Today I was going into Home Depot. There was an older guy wearing there was an older dude. He was wearing a Vietnam veteran hat. And I literally made time. I took time. I seen him standing in the middle of the parking lot. I parked my car and I had to walk out of my way. I walked up to this older guy and I said, I really want to thank you for everything that you did for this country. And that's not, you know, and I try not to make that some cynical, you know, like whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I really want these people to know that like I appreciate you, you know, and I didn't have that level of appreciation before VTT.
That's awesome. That it really is. That truly is awesome. Listen, I'm thinking chapter 5 is going to have to wait. We can touch on it in the next.
No, let's do it. Let's do it real quick. Five
Yeah,
minutes. Let's do it.
Okay, if you guys are up to it, because honestly, because I don't feel we have to spend a lot of time on this because failure. We all deal with failures, and again, I feel like he's speaking to the non-military personnel that are reading this because that's you expect failure in your training, which transfers over. In my case, I didn't go through life expecting to constantly win. I've got way more second and third place trophies from sports, youth sports, than I do first place trophies. And I guarantee you, those trophies taught me a lot more than any first place trophy or accolades. So that's where I totally, he mentioned the the circus and the SEAL training, where that's all mental toughness. It starts with mental toughness, because if my mindset would be, if that was me, I would be expecting to go to the circus every night. Like I would have it penciled in, knowing that's where I was going to end up. And if I didn't have to go to the circus that night, it'd be, hey, all right, win-win, but and you have to find a way to mentally overcome those failures. So is he so clearly, him being Admiral McRaven, the author of Make Your Bed, I'll try to at least 6 days a week. But yeah.
Kevin, so ask your wife why she makes her bed.
I can't wait to have that answer for you. I've never, and I mean, as I often do, I'll bunny trail, because my favorite make your bed is there's old Ben Stiller movie, Heartbreak Kid, I believe it is, and his fiance or whatever has like 300 pillows on the bed, and he knows exactly where to place each one. He doesn't know why he's doing it. He just knows that's his job, to make that bed like that. And she does him wrong. She's out of the picture pretty quick in the early stages of the movie. And the first thing he does is sit there and stabs every single pillow. And and for a long time, that's kind of how I felt, to be perfectly honest with you.
But there was just the rebel in you. That's all.
Yeah, that rebellious spirit can be good, but it can also be the bane of your existence.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So Michelle, anything to add on? I mean, I just don't see you as not being mentally tough. I mean, we all face it, but like when you are a person who's consistently mentally tough, what do you do when you have those moments where you're not feeling 100%? Like, how do you bring those failures back around to?
And I take the time to do something for me.
Good advice.
I don't know what it is. It's kind of like a nurturing thing in a way. You know what I mean? Like if I'm not a certain way, I do something that I really enjoy. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I treat myself to something. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, hey, I don't know why I feel this way, but you know what? I deserve better, and I know I deserve better, and then I do something for me. Do you understand?
I do. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's actually really awesome.
Getting back to a base.
Yes.
A base. Oh, I thought you were going to follow that. I thought you were saying like getting back to a base and going to tell us some fantastic story. But
I can't, because I'm not a veteran. So yeah.
Everybody's different though. Everybody handles, their issues differently,
For sure.
Like I handle things differently than, you do, and Rex, and, everybody, but everybody, should at least create a system or a tool guide to dealing with those situations. Cause, you're not going to be 100% all the time. Everybody has I don't care who you are. And if everybody's telling you otherwise, they're full of baloney. I was going to say another word, but I try not to swear. But yeah, if somebody says they never have highs and lows, they're lying. Everybody does. Everybody. If you're a human being, you have them.
Absolutely. And I think the key there is we all get beaten, but we got to choose not to be defeated. It's that simple. And
got to find people to get over those things.
Yeah.
Hey, I was gonna say real quick. Last thing.
I know what Johnny Carson went through. It's horrible, man. Jesus.
I mean, fuck. It's the last thing I'm gonna say before you tell me to shut the fuck up. All right. I just want to tell you that like if before the asset mindset, before I started this book club, before any of this, like I never did this in my life, but this is something that I try to do every day. If I am frustrated, if I am angry,
I'm sure that was a great story. I know that was great.
No. Well, what I say is, as I say, I'm losing.
I hear you.
Yeah. Sorry. But what I say is like it comes back to that bad wolf. You know, it's just if am I feeding the bad wolf?
Let's
And
do
right
it.
now, if I'm feeding the bad wolf, well, stop feeding them.
You know
Stop
what I
giving
got to,
them
you know what I
food.
got to feed right now? This
Your
wolf.
belly.
This wolf needs
Your
to
belly.
get fed. So, in closing, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on my first setting up a Zoom call. You're here, so I must have done pretty good. I'm not Len. Len, we need you. Ed McMahon is not meant to host the Tonight Show, so I need my
Oh,
Johnny.
stop. Great.
But hey, the more the merrier. Y'all come join us. We got something good going on here, and we'd like to have your input. It's not too not too late to join the Veteran Trash Talk Sunday Evening Book Club. Peace out.
Peace out.